suggestions do you have? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Zhang. I would like to thank CCG for inviting me to attend this roundtable. It's the first time for me to attend, and a lot of the topics are something that we've been working in our work. In the opening remarks, the moderator asked, what is the target that we can work more effectively on? Climate change is one of the most important targets in all the SDGs. And climate change has a very close relations with other SDGs, and we can feel, and as many speakers mentioned, that we have felt personally the impact from climate. The high temperature has a major impact on people's physical and mental conditions, and also huge impact on agricultural production. And some very important measures to mitigate climate change regarding poverty and infrastructure are also very important. So we need to consider all the SDGs as a whole, but climate change is particularly important. And in terms of urgency of the actions, we have lots of challenges. Paris Agreement already determined the reduction target. We need to control the temperature rise within 2 degrees C, or ideally below 1.5 degrees C. More than 100 countries have released their emission peaking targets, but if we put them together, there's still a big gap to achieve the 2 degree C rise target. If we don't carry out more measures, possibly there will be a 3 degree C rise in temperature. So we really need to pay special attention to climate change in SDG. Speaking of climate change, I think every day over the past few years, there are some major factors. One is the COVID. The other is the Russian-Ukraine war started earlier this year, and also the deglobalization trend. These major trends all have some impact on climate change. For example, COVID in 2019, or when there was this outbreak of COVID, manufacturing operations declined. We saw decline of emission, but then soon after we saw 66% in the emission. And Ukraine-Russian war lead to increase of the energy price, and there is also impact that countries need to readjust their energy policies. Many countries are paying more attention to energy security, and they tend to be more conservative, and this will also have some impact on climate change. And if you look at the impact of deglobalization, in globalization itself, can spread application of more advanced technologies, and it may help us to better mitigate climate change. But due to deglobalization, there's this restrictions on exports, and we are seeing some backward development in this area, and also relations between China and the U.S. China and the U.S. are two major players, I would say two major forces in fighting climate change. But due to this problem in bilateral relations, there may also lead to some uncertainties for some international processes. So those were the challenges, and there are also opportunities. EU is speeding up the development of renewable energies, and the U.S. has passed the IRA Act to invest $730 billion to reduce 40% consumption of by 2030, and China is going to achieve the target of installation target for PV power. And first half of this year, sales of electric vehicles account for more than 20% of all new vehicles.
So 3 years before 2030, China can guarantee the accomplishment of carbon peaking. And new projects, my suggestion is number one, we can think first of all about the BRI and the NEVs development and export of NEVs from China to other countries. And second, enterprises have a lot role to play, be it the enterprises, be it the productive enterprises or the manufacturing enterprises and so on and so forth. They can play a very important role in climate change mitigation and resilience enhancement. And 13 billion USD volumes of the capacities from the enterprises has made promises, Glasgow Alliance, and also in the carbon market. The disclosure mechanism of the information should also be enhanced further. Last but not least, because I'm with the development environment defense, which is an NGO. And during the process, NGO can play a positive role as well, because we're not a so-called international organization, but we are actually a non-government organization, and we can support the efforts from the international organizations by providing our proposals. For example, in terms of the green financing, 2008, we've been exploring the ways as to what kind of tools and what kind of means could be adopted to detect the risks about the climate change and the opportunities brought by the risks. So I think the main thing control, and we also have provided some